Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about heat and energy. Someone said heat is a type of energy.
Yeah. All right, yeah, you're right about that. All right, can we go to the next slide? All right, so heat is the result of the movement of tiny molecules called atoms. This energy can be transferred from one object to another, which is called heat transfer. There are 3 ways that heat can be transferred, and those are conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction is when thermal energy is transferred through touch and between any 2 solid objects. An example of this would be cooking food. When the pan with the food touches the stove, the heat will be transferred from the stove to the pan. The next example is convection. Convection is when thermal energy is transferred through fluids like a liquid or a gas. Only one of the objects has to be fluid for it to be convection, though. An example of this would be boiling water. As the pot gets hot, the heat is transferred to the water.
All right, so what is radiation? Radiation is the effect of heat transferred through infrared energy. Infrared energy is a form of radiation made up of fast electromagnetic waves. An example of this is the sun. All of the light, heat, and UV light that we get from the Earth comes from the sun. These 3 types of energy are radiated throughout our planet because the sun is very hot. Other types of these electromagnetic waves are microwaves, radio waves, X-rays, and gamma rays. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so thermal conductivity is the ability for an object to transfer thermal energy. For example, certain objects are good at conducting heat, like metal and glass, but other things are bad at conducting heat, like air or wood. An example of a household object that uses conductivity is a thermos. Thermos has a very low thermal conductivity to keep your food hot. Heat can't transfer through the thermos and stays inside the thermos. That's why the food stays hot. While thermal energy and temperature correlate, meaning that when temperature increases, the thermal energy also increases, they're not the same. While temperature measures how hot something is, heat measures the amount of energy that something has. So when an object's thermal energy changes by conduction, convection, or radiation, its temperature will also change because of this correlation.
So for our last STEM Friday challenge, it's the solar oven. First, let's talk about what a solar oven is. A solar oven is a device that lets you cook food without using any electricity and without burning any fuels. The oven heats up just by using the heat from our sun. Here's some materials you might want to have for building your solar oven. You want to have some form of cardboard box, which can be a pizza box, delivery box, or just any type of cardboard box works. Clear plastic sheets or plastic wrap, tape, or any other adhesive, and some aluminum foil. Start off with building your solar oven. Pick your cardboard box and try to seal all of its sides and edges using tape. It's a good idea to do this as a measure to prevent convection, which, if you recall, is the transfer of heat to fluids from happening between the inside and outside of the box. Our next step is to cut a hole in the top of your box. Make sure to keep the excess cardboard. You want to attach a piece of aluminum foil on for the next step. Then put that piece of cardboard with your aluminum foil sides towards the box onto one of the edges of your cardboard box. So this part acts kind of like a funnel, catching more sunlight and focusing more energy into your box when you put it outside. For your last step, seal up the hole in your box with your clear sheet or plastic wrap. To make your oven work the best, there's 2 main things that you'll have to do. First is to increase the thermal energy or heat that goes into your oven. Having a bigger box or reflector is going to help you. Bigger box or reflector means more surface area that the sun can enter your oven through. However, you also have to be careful with this.
Where are you going? Vamos.
Sorry about that. You also have to be careful with this because this also means that heat has more ways to easily go out of the oven, whether it's through convection or conduction. You also want to tweak the angle of the sunlight going into your oven. You want direct sunlight because it means that the energy going into your oven is going to be the most powerful. As the day goes on, where the sun is in relation to your oven is also going to change because the earth is rotating. Next thing you can do is to decrease the amount of thermal energy or heat going out of your solar oven. There's always going to be heat energy leaking out of your oven because of the second law of thermodynamics. That means that heat wants and mostly always will flow from hot to cold. You can try to minimize this by taking measures to insulate your box. Some ways you can do this is by layering on an extra sheet of cardboard to the sides of your box, or by constructing a windshield using some more cardboard to prevent wind from cooling down your oven. A way that you can tell if your oven is well insulated is by touching the sides of your oven when there's no wind. The cooler the outside of the box feels, more heat's going to stay inside of your oven. By doing this, you'll be measuring the thermal conductivity of your oven, which you want to be as low as possible. And the last thing, one of the most easy ways that heat can escape your oven is through hot air inside your oven exchanging with cooler outside. Just double check that your oven is sealed really well. Here's a few more things about your solar oven. Try to have an adult help you if you're cooking something inside of your oven. The sun's very powerful, so your oven can get really hot. Your solar oven will work the best on sunny days, so try to check the weather in order to get as much sunlight as you can. This week, best times to test out your solar oven will be from Tuesday to Friday next week. So that'll be the 26th to the 29th. And one last thing, when you're cooking something in your oven, you'll probably have to change the cooking times in the solar oven when compared to your kitchen appliances. Check with an adult, make sure the food in your oven is fully cooked. Here's some example pictures of solar ovens.